Whether you take the train or the bus, fares will increase by as much as 5 cents for every journey. And a 19-year-old has been charged with the murder of his dad in YISHUN. It's Wednesday, October 12th, and you're watching The Big Story with me, Chow Su-an. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel to stay up to date with our live news updates. And it's that time of the year once again when commuters find out just how much their bus and MRT fares are going up. The Public Transport Council announcing a short time ago that bus and train fares will rise by 2.9%, meaning an increase of 4 to 5 cents for adults who pay by card, depending on the distance travelled. This will take effect on December 26th. Fares for concession groups such as senior citizens and students will go up as well by a smaller amount of 1 cent. There will be no change to monthly concession passes and cash fares.
The Council was unanimous in our decision that we need to protect commuters against a large fare increase for this year. Specifically, the Council will mitigate the impact on commuters by limiting this year's fare increase to 2.9% and roll over 10.6%, which is the bulk of the allowable fare adjustment quantum to future fare review exercises. This will avoid a large fare increase this year, but will require additional government support.
And speaking of support, the government is looking to mitigate the possible impact the fee hike might have on Singaporeans through vouchers for lower to lower middle income families. There will be 600,000 public transport vouchers worth $30 each, which can be used to top up fare cards or buy monthly concession passes. The vouchers will be available to resident households with monthly household income per person of not more than $1,600. Coming to us from the Public Transport Council, Transport Correspondent Kok Yu-feng with more. Thanks for joining us today, Yu-feng. So, inflation has been on everyone's mind, and with the cost of living continuing to rise, how has this factored into the Public Transport Council's decision to increase prices now, and how is the hike justified?
Well, the council in a press conference today said that the public transport fares have had to rise because of the increasing energy costs, especially last year, and increased manpower costs as well. So I think no matter what had happened, fares would have had to rise. But this year, what the council did was that they only capped the fare increase to 2.9% in order to make sure that it remains affordable for most people. So the formula this year allowed them to increase the fares up to a maximum of 13.5% actually, and this was largely because of the increased energy costs. But the government stepped in and provided an additional $200 million subsidies for next year, which then allowed the council to say, okay, we're going to limit the fare increase this year to 2.9%, which then translates to a 4 to 5 cents increase for adult commuters. Another thing they did as well is to keep the increase for concessionary fares low, so it's only going up by 1 cent this year. And that means it will benefit about 2 million commuters, or about half of Singaporeans. So, this group of people will not see a big increase in fares.
So how does this year's fare hike then compare with previous years? Have you identified any trends?
If you compare it to last year there was also a hike of 2.2%, which meant that fares went up by 3 to 4 cents for adults. The year before was COVID, and the council had made a decision to basically freeze fare hikes in 2020. And before then, there were also a few number of fare hikes that were actually even higher than this year's. So I think with this year's fare hike, the council has thought about affordability, has thought about cost of living, and has tried to moderate it slightly compared to previous years.
Thank you, Yu-feng. This has been Transport Correspondent Kok Yu-feng. And in the latest development on the recent murder in YISHUN, 19-year-old Silsna Sia was charged today with allegedly killing his father, Mr. Eddie Sia. Mr. Sia was allegedly murdered between the 4th and 5th floor of Block 653 YISHUN Avenue 4. The police asked for the teenager to be remanded for a week and for him to be brought out for investigations and to revisit the scene. He's set to appear in court again on Thursday. Those convicted of murder in Singapore face the death penalty. And demand in Singapore's rental market remains strong, with rents for HDB flats and private condos rising by over 3% in September. Property analysts say it's a landlord's market right now, when housing options are limited and many tenants have had no choice but to pay the higher asking rents. And the International Monetary Fund warning that the worst is yet to come for the world economy as it downgraded its global growth forecast for the next year. The assessment, which was detailed in the World Economic Outlook report, also warns of a harsh worldwide recession if policymakers mishandle the fight against inflation. This comes after a surge in energy and food prices over the past year due to persistent supply chain disruptions and Russia's war in Ukraine. And those are our top stories for today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Chao Suan, and I'll see you tomorrow on The Big Story.